Welcome to the New Jersey Association of College Admission Counseling STEM Virtual College Fair. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us this evening. Just a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time, and your cameras and microphones are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening. Be sure to sign up for additional ones where you signed up for this one. And this presentation is being recorded. It'll be available within about a week, again, at the same website where you registered for this presentation tonight. We're in session C1, bottom left part of the screen. Let me get my mouse out of the way so that menu goes away with any luck. And you can see those are the 6 schools that are set to present during this session. So I've gotten all the housekeeping stuff out of the way, so I will step out of the way and turn it over to our first presentation from Ohio Wesleyan University.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Dave Froman. I am Associate Director of Admission at Ohio Wesleyan University. We affectionately refer to ourselves as OWU. We're located in the great college town of Delaware, Ohio, just north of Columbus, Ohio, the state capital, and Columbus is the now the 14th largest city in the U.S. We are a national liberal arts university. We're one of the colleges that change lives. And here's some demographic information, just general demographic information, but you can see that we're a smaller school between 1,400 and 1,500 students. Average class size is small, a low student faculty ratio. 95% of our graduates are in graduate school or professional school or employed within 6 months of graduation. That includes the vast majority of our applicants to medical or veterinary school. Your classes are going to be small at OWU. They're going to be, you're going to get a lot of attention from your professors. Where we really hang our hat is on what we call the OWU Connection, which are all your out-of-class experiences. So we're talking research, internship, study abroad, travel learning, and the foundation here, think big, go global, and get real. As far as thinking big, interdisciplinary programs, this is one example right here with Amy Downing from zoology and Craig Jackson from computer science, and they team teach a class which looks at how mathematical modeling can help better understand marine ecosystems. In terms of going global, over 70% of our students study abroad at some point, either through travel learning or studying for a semester abroad. In this particular picture is of our island biology class. It's a travel learning class. When you take a travel learning class, you spend most of your time in Delaware, Ohio on our campus, but then you spend a couple weeks at the end off campus, most of the times overseas. This particular island biology class, it spends time in the Galapagos Islands, and that's where this picture is taken. Get Real have robust practical experiences. We're talking internships, we're talking research. And Ishmael here, who graduated in 2020, he had 4 research internships during his time as an OWU student. And this particular one was in his junior year, and this was at the Broad Institute of MIT and Harvard in Boston, Massachusetts. And he now is hired and working as a research associate at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute at Harvard in Boston. So led directly to a job for him. The top 5 STEM majors at Ohio Wesleyan, zoology is actually our second most popular major overall. And we have biology, psychology, computer science, and all of the majors that are within the umbrella of the pre-med program are also in our top 5 most popular STEM majors. These are pictures involving our faculty and students. This picture on the left is our science center, which is it's almost a city unto itself. It is a huge science center. And this is a picture from the science center from 2019, where our summer research symposium, our summer research group was putting on their poster displays and symposium. The entire campus shows up to check out their program from the summer, where they actually get a huge stipend, thousands of dollars, to stay on campus and do research with faculty members, collaborating with faculty members. Here's Bob Harmon at one of our 2 observatories with what may be, this is the Perkins Observatory, this is our telescope, maybe the best small college telescope in the United States. Here are students and faculty in our greenhouse on campus. And this here is Laurie Anderson with students in Utah, doing field work in Utah. And this young man floating in the classroom, that is Dr. Chris Wolverton. And he has gotten hundreds of thousands of dollars of grants through his relationship with NASA. And he and some summer symposium research students worked on an experiment on plant adaptation to gravity that actually went to the International Space Station a couple of years ago. Here are some student outcomes. Here are some outcomes with their students. Serena George, class of 19, zoology and environmental studies, double major, and again, connection experiences studying in Costa Rica, Virgin Islands, Tanzania. She wrote a grant proposal, got full funding to work at an internship at a wildlife orphanage in Zimbabwe, and she's getting her veterinary medicine degree at the University of Wisconsin. Lan Nguyen, a computer science major, honors research, 2 summer internships at Facebook, got hired by Facebook as a software engineer. And here is one of our athletes from the lacrosse team, Cole Jameson. He was a genetics major, did summer research at Michigan State, and it says first job, but actually he is getting his master's in engineering, biomedical engineering and engineering management at WashU in St. Louis. You can look at the numbers here, but here are some of our graduates and their success, female graduates, and their success in getting their PhDs. We've got Bhavna Murali. She got her, she was a major in genetics, 2012. She got her PhD cellular and molecular biology at WashU. Meredith Palmer here got her PhD in behavioral ecology at the University of Minnesota. Right here we have Kristen Lear. She got her PhD in integrative conservation at the University of Georgia. And Rachel Rotenbacher is now a postdoc at Yale, but she got her PhD in astronomy and astrophysics at the University of Michigan. So students are getting jobs, are getting their degrees, and this is further proof of the power of an OVU experience. And thanks for joining the presentation. Stay connected. I put into the chat my contact information here is again. And thanks again for joining us this evening, and a pleasure presenting to you. Hopefully we'll continue staying connected.
Thank you very much. And I will remind everyone of our attendees, you can ask questions at any time. Just use the Q&A button to submit your questions of any of our representatives. And if your question is for a specific school, just make sure to name the school in your question so they know it's for them. Up next, we'll hear from the representative from Marywood University.
All right, everyone. Good evening. My name is Sarah Polinchak. I am an admissions counselor at Marywood University. Maria's name is coming up, but I'm filling in for her today. So this is my contact info that you'll get towards the end. A little bit about Marywood. We are located in northeastern Pennsylvania. Some of the fast facts about our school. We have about 2,000 students on campus. 900 of those students are graduate students. Classes are pretty small at Marywood. So your average class size is 20 to 25 within your major, and your liberal arts classes are about 30 to 35. You'll see our first year retention rates are on here, 86.1%, and then the 6-year graduation rate is 67.5%, which is consistently higher than the national average. And 99.7% of the class of 2019 is employed or pursuing graduate studies. So like I mentioned at Marywood, we are a smaller school, which gives us the opportunity to kind of focus on our day one initiative. So that means that any major that you are in at Marywood University, you will experience your very first day of class. So these are some of the majors. I know we're focusing on STEM majors today, some of the ones that we offer: communication sciences and disorders, another name for speech and language pathology. We have an athletic training and exercise science program. Our most popular, I would say, is our physician assistant studies program. We have 4 different tracks in our biology program. biotechnology, environmental science, and medical laboratory sciences as well. I just want to point out throughout the presentation, we do have a lot of 5-year programs. So not only is that saving you a little bit of money because it's into a 5-year program, which would typically be a 6-year program with your master's, but it does get you out into the workforce a little bit faster. So we do have the 5-year in speech language pathology, athletic training, physician assistant studies, and then I'll go to the next slide, nutrition as well. Some other ones that we have, nursing, respiratory therapy is our newest program. So we are offering that to high school students as well as transfer students who maybe have their associate's degree in respiratory therapy. We have things like computer science, info and cybersecurity, mathematics, and our most popular programs, architecture and interior architecture. The architecture program is a 5-year bachelor's, and then we have the 4-year interior architecture with an option to get your master's in 5. So those are some of the majors that we obviously like to highlight as far as STEM goes. Student life at Marywood, we have over 100 different clubs and organizations on campus, anything from music and arts to club intramural sports, faith and service-based clubs. We have Student Government Association, which is a great way to get involved on campus, to make changes happen across campus. Honor societies, orientation leaders, which you'll see on our right of the screen. Those are orientation leaders that bring our new students into campus every summer. Residence assistants, we have sororities on campus, and as well as campus ministry. We were voted first in place for excellence in programming and awarded student activities in the National Association for Campus Activities Conference. So that's something that we're very proud of. Another point that I like to highlight is if there is something at Marywood or something not at Marywood that you want to create, a new club, you can create anything and also get funding towards that as well. So that's a great way to kind of make your own club too. We are Division III athletics. We are a member of MAC conference. We have 22 varsity teams, our newest being rugby for both men and women. If you're interested in any of these sports or speaking with a coach, I can definitely give you their contact information, or you can fill out the interest form on our website. But those are some of the sports that we offer on campus. The admissions process, I just want to highlight that. We are rolling admissions, so we don't have a deadline for any program other than speech and language pathology. That's a firm May 1st deadline. If you're ready to apply, we take both the common application and the Marywood app. Both of them are free. And the only things that we need for you to submit are your completed app, your high school transcript, official test scores, and 1 letter of recommendation. For fall 2021 students, SAT and ACT scores are waived if you do not want to submit them. So that's something that you won't have to submit if you do not have them, or maybe you're not happy with your scores, but you do not need to submit those for fall. Some of the scholarship opportunities that I like to highlight, 75% of our incoming freshmen receive a scholarship that's worth more than half of their tuition. So some of the scholarships that we offer are here. Each student that's accepted to Marywood will receive a scholarship between $16,000 and $23,000 per year. Some other scholarships that we offer are Maxis Gillet, which is excellence in service to the community, talent awards for art and music students. And then if you are a transfer student, we also are highlighting members of the PTK Honor Society. So you can check that out as well. Some of the other opportunities that we have to come to campus, we are open for in-person tours. So for students who are interested in coming to campus, we welcome you 5 days a week and on select Saturdays. We do have virtual appointments as well because we understand that not everyone is comfortable in coming to campus. So we do have personal virtual appointments that you can come to. Admissions info nights. We are also doing admissions financial aid nights. So that will be, there's one in February, March, and April, if you have any questions about financial aid. And then all of the admissions counselors are on Instagram every day at 4 p.m. So you can tune in and ask us a question, and we'd be happy to answer that for you. So that's just a little bit about Marywood University. My contact information is on here, my email, as well as my phone number. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and we hope to see you on campus soon.
Thank you very much. And again, any questions you have for any of our reps, please use the Q&A button on your screen to submit those at any time. And if it's for a specific school, as I said before, and I will probably say again, just make sure you name the school in your question. Up next, we'll hear from the representative from College of Mount St. Vincent.
1 second here. All right, hello everyone. My name is Tyler Margolis. I'm from the College of Mount St. Vincent. We are located in Riverdale, New York, which is actually in New York City, the northernmost part of New York City, right on the border of Yonkers, for those that are familiar with Westchester. Over here, you can see downtown Manhattan, Midtown Manhattan in the background. And one thing that we really love about our campus is the fact that while we are technically in New York City, we still obtain that much more suburban type of campus. So just some quick fast facts. We were founded in 1847 by the Sisters of Charity. We have a 70-acre gated campus that overlooks Hudson River, which that previous picture displayed pretty nicely. We're only 12 miles away from Midtown Manhattan. So whether it's going to a Broadway show, whether it's seeing a sporting event, if we ever go back to that once the pandemic is over, it's literally in our backyard. We are a relatively small school, only 1,800 students in total. That's combined between graduate and undergraduate programs. We're ranked number 3 in upward social mobility in the 6th most diverse college campus in the nation. We have over 50 different academic programs, 13 of which are dual degree programs. So that usually means spending 3 or 4 years at the College of Mount St. Vincent while spending another 2 to 3 years at a different campus. 6 of those 13 dual degree programs are actually science and STEM related programs as well, which I'll get into later in the presentation. We are an average class size of about 20 students. Student to faculty ratio is about 13 to 1. So we really pride ourselves in having those smaller type classes. It really allows students and professors to form and bond a relationship. And we find this really helpful in terms of students beyond graduation. A lot of our professors are coming from the workforce over in New York City, and there are just a ton of great networking opportunities that are built in the classroom. So just sort of cutting into brass tacks, here's just an overview of tuition itself. Tuition is $39,500 and room and board is around $12,000, but 100% of our students do receive merit-based scholarship, which I will get into on the next slide. In addition to a merit-based scholarship, we also have 4 different premier program scholarships as well, covering science, covering community service, covering culture, and covering writing and English as well. As I was mentioning, all of our students do indeed qualify for merit-based scholarship. Those range anywhere from $15,000 to $22,500. That's entirely based on your recalculated GPA. So when reviewing your application, we really look at your core classes such as science, math, social studies, English, language, and religion if you take one. On top of that, our students receive resident scholarships as well. Those usually average around $5,000 per semester. And as I mentioned before, 100% of our students receive a merit-based scholarship. I also mentioned our premier scholarship programs. One that I want to highlight is our Martha E. Fedorko Scholarship that's offered to high achieving students that want to pursue a career in the sciences, which I bet a lot of you are as well. So a great thing about that is it's a $5,500 scholarship per year. In addition, you will be granted a $3,500 research stipend for 10 weeks over the summer, either going into your sophomore or junior year, and you'll be getting free room and board as well. Some really great academic majors. Obviously, I want to focus on more STEM related, are nursing, biology, business psychology, and sociology. In regards to nursing and biology, I'd say nursing is one of our more popular programs because New York City is indeed in our backyard. A lot of our students in terms of internships get research opportunities in New York Presbyterian Hospital, Montefiore Hospital, and a lot of the larger hospitals, not only in New York City, but in the country as well. We have a lot of great facilities on campus as well. Our nursing simulation labs are top notch. They usually have anywhere from 25 to 30 different test dummies that simulate real life experiences. We actually have a few of them that simulate the whole birthing process, which is kind of scary, but also really cool at the same time. So, in terms of getting hands-on experience outside of the classroom, the Mount is a great option for some of you STEM students. I think I was also mentioning that we have 13 different joint degree programs. 6 of those are related to science. We have a joint degree program with physical therapy, occupational therapy, chemistry, and we have a pharmacy doctorate program as well. Usually those are around 6 to 7 years in length, and we have joint degree programs in association with Dominican College in Blauvelt, as well as Columbia University, along with a few others. Here's just a brief overview of some of our areas of study. You can see some of our STEM majors over here with biology, biochemistry, chemistry. A lot of you students that are interested in pre-med, that falls under our biology branch, and will fully prepare you for graduate school and medical school beyond finishing at the Mount. We do pride ourselves in the efforts that our students partake in outside of the classroom as well. You can see a few different clubs and organizations here. We have our Model UN, we have our Finance Club, as well as our Women's Studies Club as well. Just to cut ahead a little bit, our average GPA is around 88, recalculated down to an 85. Average SAT score is around a 1050. We moved to a test optional method this year as well. So for fall 2021 graduates or 2021 freshmen, that's going to be an option for you. And last but not least, here's my contact information. So any questions, I have dropped my information in the chat. So feel free to reach out.
Thank you very much. And any questions you have for any of our representatives, use the Q&A button on your screen. If it is for a specific school, make sure to name the school in your question so they know it is for them. Up next, we'll hear from the representative from Worcester Polytechnic Institute.
All right, let me get this going. There we go. All right, guys. Thank you all for joining us tonight. My name is Ian Capizzoli. I am an admissions counselor here at Worcester Polytechnic Institute, or WPI for short. So let's get right into it. So for a brief overview here, we're a mid-sized university with a undergraduate focus, so about 4,500 students total at the undergraduate level, and then a good amount at the graduate level as well. We are a STEM-focused institution, just like any other school, with Polytechnic in their name. About 60% of our students are engineers. We have 12 different engineering disciplines. Computer science is also our second largest major on campus, and all of the typical life sciences are also very well represented. So biology, physics, chemistry, all of that good stuff. Now, along with that, we do have over 50 different degree programs total. So there are lots and lots of different options. We do have a really flexible curriculum as well for an engineering focused school in particular. A lot of our students will pursue dual majors as well as minors or dual minors. And we do also offer 4- and 5-year bachelor's and master's combined programs. So there's lots of different ways that you can sort of customize your degree at WPI, regardless of what you want to major in. With that said, every year about 20% of our students do enroll undecided. So you don't have to have that figured out right away. We have what's called institutional acceptance, which means that none of our programs are more or less competitive than one another. The institution as a whole is just relatively competitive for admission. Now, with that said, we do have a 95% retention rate from first year to sophomore year, which is relatively unheard of, something that we're very proud of as an institution. Our students are coming in that first year, they're happy, they're healthy, they have all the needs at their disposal to want to come back for that second year and beyond. We do also have a 13-to-1 student to faculty ratio, which again, sort of feeds into that retention rate. Our students are very well supported and very well known by our faculty at WPI. Now, an important part of WPI is our first name, which is Worcester. So I know that looks like it says Worcester, that is Worcester. And we're first and foremost a college town. We are the second largest city in all of New England, so larger than New Haven, Connecticut, Hartford, Connecticut, Providence, Rhode Island. We are like I said, a college town first and foremost. There are actually 12 colleges in the immediate area, 9 of which are within the city limits of Worcester. So very good environment to go to school in. Moving right along, the most unique thing about WPI is the WPI plan. So although we were founded in 1865, we instituted the WPI plan about 100 years after that in 1970 as a way to sort of reshape our curriculum and the way that our students were learning to get them better outcomes after graduation. Now, the biggest parts of the WPI plan can be boiled down into 4 main things. So number one is our academic calendar. So we don't have your typical semester structure at WPI. We actually break our year up into a quarter structure instead. So your fall semester is made up of A term and B term, and then spring semester is C term and D term. Each one of these terms is 7 weeks long, as opposed to your typical 15, 16 week long semester. And in each one of them, you only take 3 courses at a time, as opposed to those 5 courses that most students would be used to. So you're kind of focusing on fewer things at once, but over the course of that semester, you end up taking 6 courses where your peers might be taking 5 typically. So you're kind of doing more and doing less at the same time with this structure. Now, with this structure, we do have to change other things around it as well. So a big part of it is that flexible curriculum that I mentioned a little bit earlier. So we don't have your typical transcript that you might find at other institutions. We do what we call tracking sheets instead. So with those tracking sheets, you might have a certain number of courses that are going to be dedicated to your major in various subjects, your math courses, your engineering courses, whatever it is you're studying. And you're also going to have a good number of courses that are basically freebies. You can go ahead and assign those courses for any other class that you might want to take. A lot of our course requirements also overlap. So that's kind of how our students will often build out those dual majors, dual minors, and things of that nature by just making sure they're taking things that will fulfill those requirements in multiple ways. Now, we also have a non-punitive grading policy at WPI, which basically means that we don't want to punish our students for taking academic risks, for stepping outside of their comfort zone a little bit, and taking any courses that might not be totally and completely in their wheelhouse. So that with that grading structure, we only have grades of A, B, C, or NR, which stands for no record. So if a student does fail a class, it actually doesn't appear on their transcript. It doesn't affect their GPA or anything like that. It's like they were never in the class in the first place. So really, we're all about supporting our students in sort of taking those academic risks and building out the degree program that they want, basically. Now, along with that, we do have a project-based curriculum at WPI. So that's a really big and important part of the WPI plan. We want to get our students kind of getting their hands dirty as soon as possible. The motto of the university is actually Lehre und Kunst, which is German for theory and practice. So we want to be giving our students as much as both of those as we possibly can at any given point. Now, the 4 things on this screen are actually 4 projects that every single student at WPI is going to complete over their 4 years. I should actually retract that. So the Humanities and Arts Project, the IQP, and the MQP are built into every student's curriculum, and the Great Problem Seminar is actually optional. But every student has the opportunity to take advantage of these projects if they'd like. Without going into specifics too much, we do also have over 50 different project centers around the world where our students will complete those projects that I showed on the last slide there. So these project centers range from right on campus at WPI to downtown Boston and New York City, so maybe not too far away. Or, of course, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, everywhere that you see a pinpoint on this map is a WPI project center. Now, the way that it works is that you're going to be doing one of these projects for 1 term or for 7 weeks out of your year. Now, each one of those projects that I mentioned have a 3 course equivalence, meaning that you're not going to be taking coursework in the background. You're not going to another university at one of these project centers. You're just going to be doing that project and getting academic credit for it for that 7-week period. So it's something that we really wanted to encourage our students to do, which is also why we started the Global Scholarship, which is a scholarship that's worth up to $5,000 for each and every student who wants to take advantage of it. Currently, about 90% of our students actually do take advantage of it and study abroad. For campus life, NCAA Division III school, we have over 250 different clubs and organizations available. We are a residential campus as well, so students live right here at WPI. And average starting salary, class in 2019 was just over $72,000 per year. Number 5 career services department in the country, according to the Princeton Review. So there are definitely lots of benefits for attending WPI. Average student has about a GPA of 3.92. Average SAT, 1310 to 1480. We are a test optional institution, so it's not required that you submit that. And last but not least, we have our full tuition, typical room and board, and about 97% of our students do receive financial aid. So most students don't pay that full amount there. And I'm also going to add my information to the chat box here in case you don't get it here. But if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you very much. And I want to remind everyone, use the Q&A button to ask questions of our presenters at any time. For a specific school, just name the school in your question. Up next, we'll hear from the representative from North Carolina State University.
Thanks so much, and good evening, y'all. My name is Tyler Tuckey. I'm one of our assistant directors here at NC State. right out of Raleigh, North Carolina. So it's great to be with you as we head a little bit south tonight and look at a little bit warmer climate, decrease that population density, spread out a little bit. So at NC State, we have about 36,000 total students, about 30,000 applicants each year, ranked as the #7 best value for our out-of-state students. And while we have a lot of majors, we're definitely the most prominently known for many of our STEM programs, which is the reason that we're all together tonight. So excited to talk about a lot of those different opportunities with you. One of the major factors that I really like is how green campus is. Lots of space to spread out, multiple parks on and around campus. So there's lots of opportunities to get your hands into the great outdoors, which is helpful for all of us right now. Looking a little bit at our academic programs, so we offer more than 100 different majors. This is a breakdown of our top 10 most popular, and you'll see that there are quite a few STEM majors included. Want to highlight a couple of our programs before I turn it over to one of our students. So you'll see that we have our College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. We're a land grant institution, have an animal science program that's a great precursor to the 4th ranked vet school in the nation. A lot of strong programs in ecology, crop and soil science, and sustainability. We do have our College of Engineering, and that's all I'm going to say about it for now, but more to come on that. We do have our College of Natural Resources. So as you look at forestry, parks, recreation, and tourism management, great majors within the STEM disciplines. Our College of Science, so there you'll find our biological sciences, chemistry, math, marine sciences. We have a location for marine sciences that's located in Morehead City, which is in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Physics as well as statistics. One thing I always like to highlight is that sustainability is built into all of our programs. So if that is an interest of yours, then there's lots of opportunities to practice that sustainability. And then finally, we are a hands-on institution, lots of opportunities for undergraduate research and taking part in some world-class research facilities. Research is available to all students of all majors, but definitely predominant within our STEM disciplines. Few admission stats, so we're looking between a 3.69, 4.0 unweighted GPA, about a 1270 to 1410 on that SAT. We are test optional for this year only, so likely moving back to test required, but stay tuned for any additional information. About 2,100 acres on campus, very residential. So you'll see a lot of the traditional brick buildings and structures that we're most famous for. But our physical campus is divided into 3 different sections. We have our main campus, heart of the first year experience, our Centennial campus, home to our College of Engineering, and Centennial Biomedical, home to our College of our College of Veterinary Medicine. As we're all here tonight to talk about our STEM programs, I'm fortunate to be joined by Axel, who is a member of our NC State community and is going to talk about our College of Engineering specifically.
Hi, hello everyone. Good evening. As Tyler said, my name is Axel Flores. I am a junior here studying industrial and systems engineering, and I'm here to talk about the great things that are happening right now in NC State engineering. So right now, quick facts. As you can see there on the right, we have over 10,000 students as a whole, 7,000 undergraduates. We are a big engineering school. We have 12 departments, 18 different degrees that you can get. Obviously, you've heard of the bigger ones like mechanical, electrical, civil, and we've heard a lot of tonight, computer science. We have that as well. But then we also have a little more niche like paper science or textiles or biomolecular. Like, we have a lot to choose from, and don't worry, don't be scared, because we tailor our first 2 years for you to actually find what you're really looking for. I did not come in thinking I was going to be industrial, but here I am, happy with a smile on my face. And then moving on from this slide to the next slide, obviously we're here for the academics, but outside of the academics, we'd like to put the NC State engineering experience into these 4 buckets. Let's say buckets, high impact activities. First things first, I think we highly value our professional development, our work. We have the 2nd largest career fair in the nation. The first one, I think, is in Texas, but we have the 2nd largest, and it is a fantastic opportunity. There's a lot of top companies coming in there. I personally have gotten multiple offers throughout my sophomore and junior year here. throughout, in person or virtual. So there's a lot of opportunities. Something that's really special to us is also our co-op program. It's pretty thorough. We have more job availability on co-ops and students. The difference between co-ops and internships is that internship is more of the breadth over the summer usually, and then co-ops are a rotation, one semester work, one semester academics, and you get more experience. It does put you back a year, but you get a lot more experience and you get to actually figure out what an engineer does instead of just like a breadth of an internship. And then the other bucket that I want to go into right now is international. Obviously, there's been a stigma that engineering students, especially upperclassmen students, can't really study abroad because of the classes offered, but that is not the case. Obviously, with the pandemic going on, we have to shift around maybe into a virtual international experience, but there is definitely a lot of offerings that you can take. You could either do it over the summer, you can take it a semester long or a year long, or something that we can call short-term, like kind of like a Maymester, 3 weeks in the May. So there's different studies. You can go Puerto Rico, you can go to China, you can go to Prague. We have a really beautiful campus on Prague. It's kind of like our third or fourth school, what we call it. And then the other bucket I want to go into now is research. We're very big on research. Every single professor in the department, each department does research. So I think I ran out of time. So we're gonna head down to Tyler.
Lots of opportunities to hear more from all of our students at NC State. Feel free to register for any of our upcoming information sessions, reach out to us in the admissions office or our College of Engineering specifically. If you're looking to connect with any of our students, we'd be more than happy to share that information with you in the future. Thanks so much, y'all, and thanks, Axel, for joining us tonight.
Well, I'm not sure if Russ is having any issues, but I think I'll just take over then. I'm Chris Weber with the University of British Columbia, and I'm the last school to talk to you today. So let's get started here. And what I want to tell you a little bit about today is the unique balance that UBC has between academic excellence, ideal location, and active learning opportunities, specifically with regards to STEM field. So when we're talking about academic excellence, this is a tough one to talk about because you tend to want to quantify it and talk about rankings, which I know you've heard are not everything. You shouldn't make your decisions entirely based on those. And I agree with that. But if it is your thing, we are a top 40 school in the world, top 20 in a number of different departments, such as earth and marine sciences, pharmacy, pharmacology, mining, engineering, et cetera. You can read them there. So this is not just, the rankings, but we also have Nobel Prize winning professors. We actually have a professor in computer science who won an Oscar for his work in special effects. So there you go, different kinds of awards. These rankings are all well and good. I'm less interested in these than I am in this one. We are the #1 school in the world for taking urgent action to combat climate change. I like this number a lot more because it tells you two very important things. It tells you that we're obsessed with sustainability and we're doing something about it, bringing our students along for the ride. So with that overview of excellence, academic excellence out the way, let's talk a little bit about location. And before I even talk about UBC, let's just talk about Canada for a second. Because yes, we're #1 in the world for quality of life, great place to be an international student, but we're also a top 3 country for university academic excellence. And that's because the government of Canada puts in more money in higher education than almost any other country in the world, meaning the quality goes way up, the cost comes down. And that also means about 1/3 of all research done in Canada is done at our universities. We're very big fans of research at universities. And then finally, if you graduate from a Canadian institution, you do get a 3-year work permit. So you can stay in the country, use the connections you've made to really start your career. Now, talking about UBC specifically, we do have 2 very different campuses that are an hour flight away from each other. So very different experiences, but both of them offer the same subject areas, it's the same degree. One campus is in Vancouver, 45,000 undergrads in a city of 2.5 million people. So major city, tons of employers, every industry. It's there looking for students. But then in the Okanagan, in the city of Kelowna, we have a campus of 9,500 undergrads, a bit more mid-size, in a city of 200,000 people, so quite a bit smaller. Now that's a smaller vacation destination, but it's also the most entrepreneurial community in Canada, with over 600 tech companies there right now, including Disney Interactive. That's their headquarters. So a lot of stuff going on in two very different environments. And then I did also say we're going to talk about active learning. We're very big fans of getting your hands dirty and getting real life experience. So one of the ways you could do this is through research at the undergraduate level. This is always available to our students because we have hundreds of millions of dollars in funding. We have thousands of projects going on every year. The student you see on your screen right now, Leo, he's a physics major from Brazil on our Okanagan campus. He got together with 5 other international undergraduate students. They came up with a project on their own. They devised it, they ran it. End of the day, the Canadian Space Agency took their project and launched into space. So now we have this balloony thing hovering above us, collecting data on climate change. And this is all the work of undergrads. Maybe if you're not thinking about research specifically, though, you want to think about work. Axel just mentioned co-ops. That's where you're alternating a semester of work with a semester of study. Really great way of doing that. We're very big fans of co-op. All of our co-op positions are paid. They're relevant to what you're studying. They're mentored by someone in the field. And our students get jobs everywhere in Canada, the US, other countries around the world, in tech, in government, NGOs, banks, you name it. The student on your screen right there, Rachel, she's from Maryland. She's a natural resources conservation student. And so she did 1 semester of co-op at NASA in Michigan. And then she did a semester at the Saskatchewan Parks Department. So really getting relevant experience based on her degree. And then if you're just thinking this is all very intense and you want to know if you can have some fun, that's totally allowed. We have hundreds of student-run clubs. There's obviously your cultural ones and spiritual ones, service-based. We also have a lot of academic clubs and design teams that are open to all students regardless of what you're studying. Some of the really fun design teams are Sailbot, which are robot sailboats. We beat the US Naval Academy, so kind of proud of that. We have sustain engineering, astronomy, whatever you're looking for, you'll find like-minded students. And if going to Canada isn't international enough for you, we do have over 200 partner institutions around the world where you can study abroad, do research abroad, work abroad, international service learning. There's a lot of different ways to get involved. So that, I think, covers the 3 things I said I talk about: the academic excellence, the ideal locations, and the active learning opportunities. So if you want to find out anything else about UBC, that website there, you.ubc.ca, that's where you'll find it all. All of our social media is down there. But really, if you're thinking of leaving the state, maybe going out west, and you're looking for maybe a friendly Canadian price tag that compares favorably to private schools in the US or out-of-state schools in many cases, you can look us up. But I'll let you do the research on all the programs because we have over 250. But thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you each for sharing a little bit more about each of your institutions. So with that, I think we'll go ahead. We have time for 1 round robin question. If everyone wants to go ahead and turn their cameras back on, we'll just go ahead and go in the order that you all presented. So I think that our question will be, what advice would you give to someone going through the college search process? And we'll go ahead and pass it on over to you all.
I think the number one piece that I would ask students to keep in mind is the college process has a way of working out. You need to do your due diligence and dig in and find out about schools. But your best preparation for college is to get the most you can out of your classes, activities, and relationships at whatever high school you're at. So I say keep things in perspective and prepare for college by having a wonderful high school career. That would be my number 1 tip.
I would recommend checking out any school that you can, especially now it's very hard to see what schools really look like through a virtual tour. So if you're able to get physically to campus and maybe shadow a student in the major that you're interested in, I think that would be really a valuable experience for you just to see what it's like to be a student at that university.
Yeah, so my biggest piece of advice would be to utilize your admissions counselors as a really valuable resource for you. There's no such thing as a stupid question. I think all of us in here have heard a variety of questions. So our job is to help you guys. So with anything, I think we've all provided our contact information here. Just do not hesitate to reach out because we want to help.
Yeah, and sort of in that same vein, I would say figure out if the colleges that you're interested in, keep track of demonstrated interest. I know for us, we love to see that students are staying engaged with us. If we meet you as a junior and you're sending a couple emails here and there, letting us know how things are going, that can really help your chances of being admitted potentially, because it just shows that you're interested and that you kind of care about that relationship. So stay in touch with the people that you talk to.
Mine is to trust the students who are at that college or university. So I brought in Axel tonight, who is here to join us, and would say that if you have a chance to talk to a current student, ask them their likes, their dislikes, why they chose that college. Axel, anything to add? Or
Yeah, what I would say is don't keep in mind what other people are doing in your high school and whatnot, because I feel like a lot of people were like, oh, I want to go to the top schools, but like, is that what's best for you? And like, that's kind of how I decided my journey to NC State. So
Yeah, and I agree with everything that was said. And I will say, obviously, being the only international school here is don't limit yourself. Think outside the box. Think as far and wide as you like. Don't let people tell you kind of what you should be studying or where you should be studying. If you find an option that sounds like a really good fit, even if it's not what everyone's expecting, hey, why not explore it?
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you all for each sharing a little tidbit of advice heading into the college search. I'm sure our audience appreciates it. But with that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up our session. So a big thank you to each of our presenters for sharing a little bit more about each of their institutions. And a big thank you to all of you for joining in to learn a little bit more as well. Whenever this session ends, you will see a very quick 4-question survey appear on your screen. If you don't mind taking the extra moment to fill that out for us, it's super helpful for us to get a little bit of feedback as we continue to plan events like these. Don't forget that you can sign up for additional sessions. New Jersey ACAC is hosting other virtual fairs throughout the spring that you should feel free to check out. But if you need to return to any of this information, remember that this session was recorded and that you'll be able to view that recording on the very same website that you registered within the next few days. But with that, that's everything we have. A big thank you once again to our presenters and to our audience, and I hope that everyone has a wonderful evening.